If you're watching this right now, something extraordinary just happened. You didn't stumble across this video by accident. You weren't mindlessly scrolling through your feed when this appeared. No, this is different. This is recognition. Out of billions of videos uploaded every single day, out of countless hours of content streaming across every platform imaginable, you found this one. And that tells me something profound about who you are. It tells me you're operating on a frequency that most people can't even detect. Here's what I know about you already, and I've never met you. You've been feeling it lately, haven't you? That subtle shift in how you see the world, that growing awareness that something fundamental has changed in your perception. You're not the same person you were 6 months ago, and you definitely aren't who you were a year ago. Most people live their entire lives without ever experiencing what you're experiencing right now. They get glimpses of it, maybe once or twice, brief moments where they sense something deeper calling to them, but they turn away. They choose comfort over growth. They choose the familiar cage over the unknown freedom, but not you. You kept walking toward the questions everyone else was running from. You kept digging deeper when everyone else was satisfied with surface-level answers. You kept pushing forward, even when it meant leaving behind everything you thought you knew about yourself. And now you're here. Now you're ready to hear what most people aren't ready to understand. The world is full of people who think they're awake, but are actually sleepwalking through their entire existence. They follow routines that drain their soul. They chase goals that aren't even theirs. They live lives designed by other people's expectations and wonder why nothing feels authentic anymore. You're not one of them. You stopped playing that game. You realized that the rules everyone else was following weren't actually leading anywhere meaningful. You discovered that the path everyone said was the only way forward was actually a dead end disguised as progress. This awakening you're going through, it's not just personal growth. It's not another phase you'll move past. This is permanent transformation. This is your consciousness expanding beyond the limitations that used to define your reality. You've probably noticed that conversations feel different now, when people complain about problems that have simple solutions, when they create drama where none needs to exist, when they choose chaos over peace. You don't get pulled into it anymore. You can observe it without absorbing it. You can feel compassion without drowning in their energy. That's not indifference. That's mastery. That's what happens when you develop the ability to remain centered regardless of what's happening around you. Most people think they need external circumstances to change before they can feel better. You've discovered that your internal state determines your external experience. This shift didn't happen overnight. You've been preparing for this moment for longer than you realize. Every challenge you faced that seemed impossible at the time, every relationship that ended when you thought it would destroy you, every dream that crumbled when you were counting on it to save you, all of it was preparing you for this level of awareness. You've learned to find stability in uncertainty. You've developed trust in outcomes you can't control. You've discovered peace that doesn't depend on everything going according to your plans. That's not something you can learn from books or workshops. That's wisdom earned through direct experience with life's most difficult lessons. The people in your life have probably noticed the change. Some are drawn to this new energy you're carrying. Others feel uncomfortable around you now because your presence highlights their own inner turbulence. Your groundedness makes their reactivity more obvious. Your authenticity makes their masks feel heavier. Don't take their discomfort personally. It's not about you. It's about what you represent to them. You're walking proof that there's another way to exist in this world. You're living evidence that it's possible to be fully human without being constantly overwhelmed by the human experience. You've stopped trying to fix other people. You've stopped thinking you're responsible for everyone else's happiness. You've stopped believing that you need to earn love through performance or sacrifice. You've finally understood that the most loving thing you can do is become fully yourself. This isn't selfishness. This is service. When you operate from this level of authentic presence, you give others permission to do the same. When you refuse to compromise your truth To make others comfortable, you show them what integrity looks like. When you choose peace over drama, you demonstrate that another option exists. But here's where it gets really interesting. The more aligned you become with your authentic self, the more life starts responding differently to you. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. Connections form that feel effortless and natural. Resources show up exactly when you need them. This isn't magic, though it might feel like it. This is what happens when you stop fighting against the current of your own life and start flowing with it instead. When you stop forcing outcomes and start trusting the process. When you stop trying to control everything and start collaborating with the intelligence that's been guiding you all along, you've discovered something that changes everything. You've realized that you are not separate from life. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of other people's choices or external events. You are life expressing itself in human form. You are consciousness experiencing itself through your unique perspective. This recognition transforms how you move through the world. Problems become puzzles to solve rather than disasters to survive. Challenges become opportunities for growth rather than evidence that something is wrong. Uncertainty becomes adventure rather than anxiety. You're starting to understand that everything that happens is happening for your evolution, not because you're being punished or tested, but because growth requires resistance. Strength develops through challenge. Wisdom emerges through experience. Peace deepens through contrast. The old version of you used to ask, "Why is this happening to me?" The current version asks, "What is this here to teach me?" That shift in perspective changes everything. It transforms you from victim to student, from powerless to empowered, from reactive to responsive. You're no longer searching for yourself in other people's opinions. You've stopped checking external validation to determine your worth. You don't need anyone's permission to be who you are anymore. That desperate need for approval that used to drive so many of your decisions has simply evaporated. This isn't because you've become arrogant or disconnected. It's because you've found something unshakable inside yourself. A knowing that doesn't require proof. A confidence that doesn't need constant reinforcement. A sense of self that remains intact, regardless of who stays or leaves your life. You've probably lost some people along the way. Friends who couldn't handle your transformation. Family members who preferred the old version of you because it was easier to manipulate. Romantic partners who felt threatened by your newfound independence. These losses hurt, but they didn't break you. Instead, they created space. Space for people who can match your energy. Space for relationships built on truth rather than need. Space for connections that enhance your life rather than drain it. You're no longer willing to shrink yourself to make others comfortable, and that boundary attracts exactly the right people. Your relationship with time has shifted completely. You're no longer in a constant rush to get somewhere else. You're no longer postponing your happiness until conditions become perfect. You've learned to find richness in ordinary moments, to discover magic in mundane experiences. This doesn't mean you lack ambition or direction. Your goals haven't disappeared, but they no longer carry the weight of your entire identity. Success doesn't define your worth. Failure doesn't determine your value. You've separated who you are from what you achieve. The anxiety that used to consume you about the future has transformed into curiosity. The regret that used to haunt you about the past has become gratitude for the lessons learned. You're fully present in your life for maybe the first time ever. You understand now that presence is the only place where life actually happens. The past exists only in memory. The future lives only in imagination. Reality unfolds in this moment, and this moment is where your power lies. Every breath, every heartbeat, every choice, right here, right now. Your intuition has become louder than your fears. That inner voice that used to whisper beneath layers of doubt and conditioning now speaks with clarity and authority. You trust it. You follow it. You've learned to distinguish between the voice of wisdom and the chatter of insecurity. This trust in your inner guidance has led you down paths you never would have considered before. Adventures that scared the old you, opportunities that challenged everything you thought you knew about your capabilities, experiences that expanded your sense of what's possible. You're no longer afraid of making the wrong choice because you've realized there are no wrong choices. Only experiences, only lessons, only opportunities for growth and expansion. Every path leads somewhere valuable. Every decision teaches you something important about yourself. The need to have everything figured out has disappeared. You've embraced the beauty of not knowing what comes next. The mystery of an unwritten future no longer terrifies you. It excites you. It reminds you that life is an adventure, not a destination. You've stopped trying to be perfect. You've stopped hiding your flaws and pretending you have it all together. Your authenticity has become more valuable to you than your image. Your truth matters more than other people's comfort with that truth. This vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. It takes incredible strength to show up as you really are in a world that rewards performance over authenticity. But you've discovered that real connection only happens when masks come off, when pretending stops, when truth is spoken. Your energy has become magnetic in ways you never expected. People are drawn to something they sense in you but can't quite name. That something is peace, genuine contentment, the rare quality of someone who isn't trying to be anywhere other than exactly where they are. This magnetic quality isn't something you can fake or manufacture. It emerges naturally when you stop fighting yourself, when you stop resisting your own experience. When you make peace with all aspects of who you are, you become comfortable with discomfort. Uncertainty doesn't send you into panic anymore. Change doesn't feel like a threat to your stability. You've learned to surf the waves of life instead of being knocked over by them. The old patterns that used to trap you have lost their power. Addictive behaviors that once seemed impossible to break simply fell away. Toxic relationships that felt permanent naturally dissolved. Limiting beliefs that seemed written in stone crumbled without effort. This transformation happened not through force or willpower, but through understanding. You saw through the illusions that were keeping you stuck. You recognized the stories you were telling yourself weren't true. You realized the prison you thought you were trapped in had no real walls. Now you're living from a completely different operating system, one that runs on trust instead of fear, love instead of scarcity, possibility instead of limitation. This isn't positive thinking. This is a fundamental shift in how you perceive reality itself. So here you are, at the end of this message that somehow found its way to you, across the vastness of digital space. But this isn't really an ending at all. This is your beginning, your real beginning. You are rare, not because you're better than anyone else, but because you've chosen awareness over unconsciousness. You've chosen growth over comfort. You've chosen truth over convenience. Most people will never make those choices. Most people will live their entire lives without ever questioning the reality they've inherited. But you questioned everything. You dismantled the beliefs that weren't serving you. You walked away from relationships that were draining you. You stopped playing roles that were suffocating your soul. That takes extraordinary courage. The fact that this video reached you is confirmation of what you already know deep down. You're not like everyone else. You never were. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Your journey of awakening isn't complete because it's never complete. Consciousness keeps expanding. Awareness keeps deepening. Life keeps revealing new layers of meaning and possibility. But you've crossed a threshold that most people never even approach. You've remembered who you really are underneath all the conditioning. You've reclaimed your power from everyone and everything you gave it away to. You've come home to yourself. Now go live like the rare being you are. The world needs your light.